So in this video we are going to learn how to use flex and grid to build exactly what we see on a Figma design. So let's start from a new. So we'll start from afresh again. So I'm going to create a new HTML file name called portfolio1.html. So I'm going to get my template. So I'll call this portfolio. Then I'm going to add my external CSS. So let me create a CSS file for this. So this will be portfolio 1.css. So now a file exists. So let me close this unwanted ones, this and this. So close this too. Okay, so I'll have now link dot and forward slash CSS, then portfolio 1. So now I have this. So if I save and view on my live server, I will be seeing an empty page. Nice, but you see the title has changed. So now if you analyze this website, you know, normally on a website you have this design layout. You have your header section, which you have your nav bar, then you have your main section, which includes the main content of the page. Then you have your footer. But in this, based on this, we have a unique situation here. It seems the header, the nav, which will be part of the header, is inside, shares a common background with the hero section. So that means I have a section that I'll call dot section 1. So inside this section I have a nav tag, which I'll call nav. Then I have the dot hero. So hero. So if I do this now, you notice on my browser I will have nav and hero, but their invisible parent is the section 1. And why are we giving them that? Because they share the same background here. So our first task will be to get this background and see how we can. So after we get this background division, then we can start adding the nav bar first. Then you record that this is the desktop view. We also have the mobile view. So let's first of all get the background of this section 1. So to get this, sorry, excuse me. So to get this background, I'll right click here, go to my export, and if I preview this, I'll see this as a background image. So I can click on this and it will ask me to export it as a zip file, so which I will download on zip, then add it to my project folder. Now I already have that, so I will not go over that again. So you see that in my images I have it as I think it's this rectangle. So if I click here, you see I have it like this. So by the time you download it, you extract and put it inside this folder. Now if you download and extract, so if I go back to my download page, I'm going to extract it. So you see it here as portfolio 1. So I'll see it as by the time I extract, I'll look for design 1. It's not here. I think I've deleted that. So let me extract again. Extract here. So you see designer. So inside your designer developer, okay, that is for this. So just the same way, if you extract it, all you just need to do is to drag. Then once you hover like this, you drop. So that is how you do that. Okay, so we already have that. So next we move to our CSS. First of all, we need to do our default settings. So in our default settings, I will have this. I will have my padding to be my 0 pixel, my margin which will be my 0 pixel, then my box sizing, box shadow, box sizing, which will be my border box, to be my border box. So then, so if I save this, the only visible difference you see is that the nav and text don't have their default margin. So now if you tap outside here, you notice there's a section here. So you see this blue border. So you go to your properties, you notice that the width is 920 and the height is this. So I can copy this. I'll come to my CSS, then I'll have my HTML. So I'll paste this. So I'll remove all this unwanted CSS. Then I'm going to use a min width, a max width here, so that there will be no overflow. Then I'm going to use, so this one, this height here is not meant to be here, it's meant to be inside the section 1. So section 1, so I'm going to have dot section 1. So I'm going to virtually carry these two, shift alt arrow down, move them into section 1. So here now I'm going to have a min height, but I'm not going to use this 1000 on this, so I'm going to use 100 view height, which is almost equivalent. So I will right click, format my document, because I have prettier, so that is going to adjust the code like this. So if I save this, you will not see any visible difference between the outputs that we had before. So you see, but now let's add a background color to that section 1. Now that we have a border, a background image for it. So the first thing that we'll do first is to add the background color, that is this one. So if I tap here, I already have the background color here, so I'll copy that, go to my CSS, and I'll add background color, and I'll paste that value there. So if I save, go to my browser, I'm going to see the background color just like that. But you notice that this background color only appears for the 100 view height, which is the available height that you have without scrolling. So that is what the 100 view height does. So now we have the background color. Let's add the slash, which is this one, this background image. So remember, we already have the background image downloaded, so I'm going to have okay, so I'm going to have background image URL, then in quote / images, then I think it's this rectangle 69. So let's confirm that. So if I go to my browser, I will see this. So now let's apply some other CSS background rules to make it display the way we want. So background size, I'll make it as 65, view width 100%. So that will adjust it to the size I want. Then background position, I'll make it as top right, then background repeat to be no repeat. So if I do that, I'm going to have this output. So you notice I have this output, so I have this background slash now, just the way it's showing me on my Figma design. Nice. So the next thing that we'll start to do now is to start to flesh out this nav bar that is here. So you notice from this, the nav tag that we have is the invisible container that is showing here. Then inside that invisible container of the nav tag, we have a box A and a box B. Now inside the box A we have an image tag. Inside the box B we have 4 boxes, which is about me, skills, this and that. But notice that this contact me is styled differently, so it's going to need a class. So let's do that markup based on the observations. So come inside here, I'm going to use an OL tag. Then my li.logo will serve as my box 1. Inside my box 1 I will have my image tag, which I'll have my dot and / images. Then I'll use normal logo, which is this one. Then I'll have my li.links. So inside that I'll have my anchor tag tab. I will have my skills. So the first one, shift alt arrow down, 1 2 3. Then of course this one has a class of contacts, so that we can style it differently. So let's start to add text inside here. So if I come here, hold my control, click on that, I have my about me. So I go here, update that, put the cursor here, come back again, hold my controls, skills, click here, I paste, I'll hold my controls, click here again, I copy, I paste, I'll hold my control again, copy this text, I click, and I paste. So that is the last. So if I save this now, go to my browser, I'm going to see this. So it's now time for us to apply our knowledge of flex and grid in order to make it look the way it's looking here. So let's do that. So if you observe the markup, you notice that based on what we just learned about flex, this OL here is the parent container. So is this OL that we are going to target in order to have these items flexed. If we target this nav and write our display flex rules, it's not going to look the way we want it to be. It will still have the same outlook. So with that observation, let's begin. So I'm going to have some kind of put here nav. So this is the CSS for my nav. So I have dot section 1 dot my nav, so we are going to use this letter, but what we are going to use this for, you notice from the design here, if I click here, call my alt, you notice I have a margin top of 72 pixel. So I'm going to give that as a not from there, from here, I'm going to have a padding top of 72 pixel. Okay, so let's start with the nav on. So inside our nav we have our OL. So from that place we are going to have our display flex, align item, center, justify, content, space, between. So if we do this, we are going to have some changes now. So you notice we have that changes, and this is the margin top. Nice. So the next thing that we are going to do, you notice that there is a space for all my author. There's a space of 273 pixel from here, and there's a space of for my auth 290 pixel. So we want, you know, the pixel is a static unit, so we want this to be responsive, so you are going to convert it to view width, and one view width is about 19.2 pixel. So if you divide that, you're going to have the equivalent in this. So I'm going to put here the padding left should be calc. So you put 2, so that was 232. So let's confirm again, click here, 273. So 273 pixel divided by, so give a space, divided by 19.2 pixel. So that will give you the equivalent in view width. Then the padding right we're going to be 290 like that. So if we do that, we are going to have something that looks like this. So I'm sure this did not give me the expected result, so I'm going to use my calculator to do that. So that should be about 12 frame, 273 divided by 19.2, that should be about 14 view width. So I think, let me see, let me remove that. Okay, so let me use 14 view width. So let's see what happens. So we have something. So this one did not give us the expected result. So 290 should give us about 15. So 290 divided by 19.2 should give us about 15 view width. So if we do that, we'll have this. Nice. So now you notice that we have this number 1 and there should be a number 2 here. So that means we need to remove that. So come here, we'll put list style type should be none. So if we do that, I will have this, so it's gone. So the next thing I need to do now is to make this look the way it's looking here. So I need to remember we gave them a class name of links. So I'm going to come here dot section1 dot links, because there's only one links tag there. So I'll still do the same thing, display flex align items should be center. So remember we can have flex within flex. So justify content space between. So if I do this, there might be no visible difference. So we need to give them some gaps. But if we study this a little, notice if I click here, notice there is a box here, and each of those boxes is 147 pixel and a height of 46. So just copy this. Now actually this is not the height of the link tag, but of the links tag, but the anchor tags inside. So remember the markup, these anchor tags. So I'm going to come down dot section1 dot links space a. So I'm going to paste that. So I'll remove this unwanted CSS. Then recall that we have a color here. So if I come down here, I'll copy this CSS, typographic CSS, paste there. So when you're working with Figma, once you get the markup, the next thing for you is to know how to get the CSS you want from your Figma, and you have to paste them. If you paste them in the wrong place, of course it will not be applied. So if I save this, you notice there will be some difference. So you notice now there is a difference. So this is actually not the expected result based on what we have here. So what I'm going to do now is to make the width responsive. So let's see what happens when we add a max width. So if I do that, we have something that looks like this. So it is now responsive based on the screen size. So if there's enough room for it, it will spread, but without passing this line. So but if we look closer, if we zoom in, bring in all our odds, move to the next one, notice there is a gap of 8 pixels. So let's add our gap here. So come here, gap of 8 pixels. So if I do that, I'm going to have this. So we are going to have a little space like this, which is nice. Okay, so the next thing is to remove this unwanted color there. So we're going to come here, add our color to be white. So I'll still format my document because I have print here. So if I save, I'll have this. Then the next thing to do is to remove this underline. So text decoration should be none. So the underline is off. So you see, it's off. Okay, that's nice. So the next thing is this Montserrat stuff. So let's get that. So Montserrat Google font. So I'll click on this get font. Then get embed code. So I want to use that of the link tag, so I'll copy this. Then of course we have already done this in our CSS, so I'll just come to the portfolio here, below this my external link, and paste this. Alt Z to break. So if I do that and save, then come here, refresh, I think the font size, the font family has already taken effect. So that is it. So we're in order. So now the next thing now is to get this look here. This look. So if you notice, if I click here, you notice it still has the same width and height, but now it has a border of this and a background color of white. So I'll just copy this, then I'm going to come here, so I'm going to put dot section 1 dot links dot contact. So if I paste this, I'm going to have that border of white solid, then background color of white, then we have our color of black. Then that is not all, we also have a border radius of 30 pixels. So border radius of 30 pixels. So you know the border radius is used to add curves within tags. So if I do this, come here, you notice I have this. So now you notice, because of this background color that we added here, we have seen that these items are not actually aligned properly. So because of Flex, remember when we are learning Flex, I said we can use Flex to perfectly center an item. So we have to put display Flex here for all the tags, align items center, then justify content center. So with this now we have fixed that unwanted behavior. So you see everything now looks nicely. Okay, so we've gotten we've gotten this design. Based on the Figma design, so it's exactly what we have here now. Nice. So if we go to our inspect mode, so you click this again. So you notice we have this. Okay, so we have the about me, we have the skills, and we have this. So it's looking as if the width is static, it does not even expand even when there is room for it to expand. So let's try to convert those to view width. So instead of this, so if we use this normal width, and save, so we have something like this. So it's giving us this behavior, which is very, very unwanted. So I think what we can do here, let's see, is to avoid giving it a width and height here. So let's check that. So we have this. Then what we can do now, this width and height, we can add it specifically to this. To this contact part. So we have something like this. So let's now see how we can get a gap here. So if I click this, so this is 140 and there seems to be a space here. So let's see, we have padding. There is no padding. So we can choose a random padding here because that we don't have anyone to use. So we can increase this by 20 so as to have some default pattern there. So that has actually spoiled the design. So I think the previous one was okay. So actually we want to avoid unwanted behavior at all costs. So we activate this, and if we try converting this to view width, let's see what will be the behavior. 147 divided by 19.2, so that will give us 7.7 view width. So if I do that, let's see what we have. You see, so we have something close. So what I'm going to do now is to give a command just to see of text wrap, no wrap. Text wrap, no wrap. So if I do that, I'm going to have something like this. So it's still giving us an unwanted output. So that is it. So we'll leave it the way it was before. So we can actually leave it at this. We'll have this, but what we can add here is, let's see what we'll have when we add flex wrap of wrap. So let's see. You see, it's beginning to look like this, which is not exactly what we want. So you see that the initial design was actually good. So we'll revert this back to 8. Then you're going to use our max width here. So this is what you do by playing around so that you know the design that is good. Nice. So this is design that's giving us what we want. So what I can do now is to see how I can increase this to make it, let's say 70. Try to grow longer so that before it gets to the end here, we are close to it's something. It's nice. Okay, so we have that design. So the next thing that we are going to do now is this. We are going to make the responsive parts, which is on the responsive view. Yeah, so we have two designs, so you can use any one. So but I'll use the simplest one for you, which is this design. So on my mobile view, I want this display. Then when I hover, I want this drop down effect. So let's begin to flesh this out. So the first thing is to get this hamburger menu. I already have it. So once you target it here, you can go to your scroll up here, you click on this, so you can copy as SVG. Then you come here. So if you copy as SVG, then you come to your images. Now we are copying as SVG because it's an icon. Then you come here, you create a file, call it the file name you want, and paste the code. So if you paste the code, it will look like this. So that becomes your SVG file. So now what I want to do now is to add the hamburger menu. So that means I will need a new list tag here. I'll call that dot menu. Then inside it I'll have my image tag dot / images. Then I'll have my menu, which is this one here. Then I'll still have it as menu. Okay, so if I do that and save, you notice I will have an unwanted behavior, which is this. So I need to use my CSS to instruct it that on my desktop view I don't want this guy to show. So that is what I'm going to do now. Now remember when I was teaching responsiveness using the media attribute, so that any code at the top serves as our desktop if we are using the max width. So here will be my mobile view. So that means all the code above this mobile view comment is the desktop. So what I'm going to do here is add media and the max width of 850 pixel. Now this is not a random guess. Remember from here when I minimize, I had about 841, so I'm decided to use 850. So the main point now is at my desktop view, I want the dot section 1 dot menu to be display none. So if I do that, it will remove that hamburger menu from the desktop, so I still have this. So you notice when I click here and shrink, I say I have about 850, about 8 something. So that is for that. So, but it seems this other one is too big, so let's reduce it. So in this kind of situation, in order to have a perfect design, what I usually do, I'll just ask the product designer, that is the UI designer, to make this background and this, to make this background color and this a background image, so that I won't have to be adjusting the size so it will look perfect. So the exact slash will be there, and I'll have to make this image to fit that. But because we don't have that, we have to improvise. So let's see how we can readjust that. So let's leave it as 66. Okay, that looks nice. So you see how it's tending towards, so still at this point. So let's say I have about 900 pixel before it jumps over. So let's use 900 in our media attribute. So 900 miles looks as if it's too big, but remember we don't have a tablet mode here, we just have the desktop. So if there was a tablet mode, then this would have been where the tablet mode will start, and in the tablet mode it will indicate if the slash still remains or if it disappears, but we don't have that, so we can choose that. Remember, one of the rules for choosing a breakpoint is when the code begins to be scattered. So it looks, because from the Figma design, this about me does not cross over here, so that was why before it crossed, which is about 900, then you see, then we'll move to the desktop view. Okay, so now we have that. So the next thing for us to do now is, now in my mobile view, when it gets too close and almost about to cross, I want to hide this entire section, then display the hamburger menu. So that means in my code, I'm going to come here, dot section 1 dot menu, display flex Now you recall the time I taught you responsiveness. So if you're using the Mac suite, the code execution starts from the top. So whatever we wrote on our desktop view is being inherited by our mobile view. So we need to remove what we don't want. So I need to put my dot section 1 dot links. So remember it was display flex, so now I'm going to put display none. So if I do that, I've changed that. So if I come here, so now you see, nice. So but according to our responsive design, there is no, that background color does not exist there. So what we are going to do now is to target our section 1. Remember, that is where we added it, section 1, and background color should be on set. Then background image will not be changed. So you notice, but if I want to remove it, I'll just put on set too. So but you notice now from the design, so when you're using Figma, don't do guesswork. Unless when you try to use the Figma design properties and it is not making your code look professional, so you can adjust the units a little, but don't change the art look. So you notice that there's a background color here, there's a background image here, so which if you click that, come here, preview, you're going to see, and we've already downloaded that. So, excuse me. So if I come to my VS Code, I'm going to have this background, so I think it's this pixel photos, so I'm going to add it here. So background, so now we are updating the background image. So URL / images, then pixel photos. So background size should be cover, then background position should be center, then background repeat should be no repeat. So if we do this, you notice what will happen on our design. So as I move closer, see I have this background image, see, nice. But now at this point, you notice the nav tag now has a height of, so we'll use this width as 100%, which is already there, but the height is now 57 pixel and the background color of black. So let's add that. So I'm going to come to the nav, so the excuse me, so that's section 1 nav. I'm going to give it a background color of black, then a height of 57 pixel. Then of course we want this to be at the perfect center, so display flex, align items center, justify content should be what, center. So if I do this, go to my screen, I will have this. Okay, so this nav items, so line item should be start, flex start. Okay, let's remove this first. Let's know what is the issue. So it will automatically inherit, yes, the flex behavior. So it's actually at the center. Okay, so but what we have here now is the image is not showing, that is the logo is not showing. And remember, from the desktop view, the logo is black. So now we have black with black background, so that's why it's not showing. So that means, since we don't know JavaScript now, we're going to use CSS to make sure this guy shows. So we are going to download this image, this logo one of white one, so that we'll have two images. So one will show on the desktop, one will show on the mobile. So let's add that here. So I'm going to come here, shift alt arrow down. So I'm going to give this a class of you can use desktop, so that we're going to show desktop, or you can use white. So the class of mobile. So I'm going to change this to the mobile logo. So slash logo white, and this is normal logo. So if I do this, so there will be some unwanted output, more especially in my desktop view. So you see I have that here. So what we are going to do now is to make the mobile image sign, which is the image logo, not to show on the desktop view. So let's treat that first. So I'm going to come to the desktop section. So that section 1 dot logo dot mobile. I'll put display none. So if I do that now, you notice the in background, the image for the mobile view is out. So just to save some time, I'll copy this here. I'll come to my mobile view. So in my mobile view, I don't want it to be displayed now, I want it to be displayed flex, but I also want the desktop view not to show. So desktop text then top to be displayed none. So that's how we use CSS to fix that issue. So now you see, if I go to my mobile view, I have this. Nice. So what do we do here now? So this guys has to be at the center, but notice the padding left, padding top, padding right that we added from the desktop view has been inherited by the mobile view. So that's why we have this. So in order to get this sat behavior, we need to remove that, and that looks easy now, because we are going to use the padding on set to do that. So we are going to remove all the padding that was inherited. So if we do that, we'll have this now. Nice. So the next thing to do is to center this and place them in the right order. So we'll have a little help. So if we go to, so if I drag this, click here, notice it's still the same height. So this height is different. This height is 60. So let's use 60. Just 3 pixels greater. The next we have, if I click here, I have that. I'll hold my Alt. The padding left is 42.8, so approximately 43 pixel. Margin top is 20 on the padding top. Then if I click here, padding, so let's zoom in a little. Click here. So let's highlight this. Okay, for your Alt key, so it's 42, so have 42.8. then we have the padding button, so if I hold my Alt key, come down of 10 pixel, so we have 20, we have 23, okay, let's use 20, so we have 20, 42, 42, 10. So we are going to use the shorthand border method. So padding method, so the top is 20 pixel, then the right is 43. I think that was what we have there, so let's use their specific one. It's 42. Pixel. The bottom is 10 pixel. Then now the left, so it's clockwise. So now the left is, so you have top, you have right, you have bottom, and you have left. So now let's look at the left. That is also 42 pixel. So I have 42 pixel. So if I do this, I will have that adjustment. So if I do this, this is what we'll have. Nice. So that is how we've done that part. So you notice our site is now looking responsive. Nice. So you see the power of CSS. 1 HTML, 2 views. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you now is when we hover on this, let it drop down menu shows, and we'll move from there. So we'll go to our Google, drop down on hover CSS. So go to W3 School. So I see the effect here. So you see the effect. So quickly we'll go to try it yourself. So you see the effect we want here, but we are going to expand on it. So if you study the code, you notice you have a drop down class, you have a drop down BTM, drop down content, and this. So let's begin to flesh this out. So I'll copy that, Ctrl C. So go to my HTML. So inside my menu, so space this, I have this. Oh, that is not what I wanted. So let's go back to the browser. And copy that. So let me be sure I've copied that. Control C. Okay. So Control Z, Control V now. So I have that. So the next thing now is the drop down btn. So Control C. I'll come down here. So this my image will serve as my drop down btn. So class, I paste that. Good. Then the next thing now is the drop down content. So I'll just copy this drop down content. Control C. Come down here and paste it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to copy this, hold my Alt, copy this, hold my Alt, copy this, hold my Alt still, I copy this, then I'll do Control C. Then this one has to be 4, so Shift Alt arrow down. Then I'll copy the same thing to 4 times. Now because the number of copy I did with multiple cursor is the same thing with this one. Now if I do Control V to paste them just like that. So that is what we have there. So based on the HTML structure of the code you saw on W2 School, that is how we've made our own. So that means if we add the CSS, we'll have the same effect. So that is what I'm going to do here now. I'm going to start from here, copy the code up, move up, then I'll stop here. Control C. So I've copied the code. So I'm actually using their classes. So I'll look for somewhere in my CSS. I'll save this. Look for somewhere in my CSS. Somewhere in my desktop view. So I'm going to add drop down over CSS start. It's not compulsory I put start, but we'll just add something here, put end. So between the start, these two, that is where the CSS lives. So if I do this, go back to my browser, I'll see this unwanted effect. So now you notice if I click this, I have this effect. Well, first of all, I need to, if I go to the desktop view, you notice I'm not seeing that. So what I need to do now is to look for that green button, which is this one, and I'll remove it. So if I do that, so let's see what the outlook will look like. So the button is not there. Nice. So it seems this height is not looking the way it should look, so I'll make it responsive. So I'll add it as mean height instead of just normal height. Mean height, so I can stretch if need be. So you see it has stretched. Nice. Okay, so we have this now, but if I click this, I'll have this. So the next thing now to do is this has to be full width, not the way it is here. So we now have to go back. Remember, I've taught you CSS positions. So let's look for the place. This is the place, the content. We use fixed. Then we are going to use width. So if you're using fixed, it does not mean width does not work. Then we'll make this 100%. 100%. Then of course, because there is no height, the height will be auto, so it will grow as long as often as it can. So why didn't that grow? Okay, so I have to use the position is not set, so it's taking a default position. So left should be 0 pixel. So if we do that, it will move it to the left. So let's see. Nice. So right now we need to move this to the bottom somewhere here. So remember the height was 60 pixels, so we are going to put top now of 60 pixel. So if we do that, let's see what we have. So still remaining something, so let's make that 70, or let's see 80. So that is what 80 has done. So let's make that 85. So this is it. So by the time we click on each of these, we have this, but this is not the background that we have here. The background that we have is stated here. So on drop down we have this background, so I'll call my control, click, and I'll have this background color. So again, I need to look for the contents. So this is the background color it has by default, and I'll paste this. So if I save that, I will have this now. So you notice now, but the issue now is this text there at the center. So remember that in the drop down content it has anchor tags of this, anchor tags of this. So if an easiest way to center an element is to use the items of an element, is to use text center, text align center. If it does not work, then you have to use flex and grid. So let's see. So it worked. So the next thing for us to do now is to get the exact height from here. So if you click here, you notice there is a height of 57 pixels. So we'll do that. So the drop down content A has a height of 57 pixels. Now each of the text need to be centered. So I need to remove this display block. So move it down, move it to display flex, but flex direction should be what? Should be column, align terms should be center, justify content should be center too. So that will center everything. So let's see the output. Yes, that is what we have. So we click this, click this, click this. But next we need to get the text of this. So the text of this is Montserrat, which we've added. So I'll copy this, come here, paste it. So you see, once you get a code online, you should be able to understand what each line of code does, because it's a language that you're learning. Then you can edit the code to fit your need. So sans serif, so that is the fallback. Then I have to format my document, so I'll use format. So if I do that, I will have this. Nice. But you notice the spacing here is not looking exact. So what we need to do now is, this guy has a line height of 14.63. so if we divided that by 2 is about 7.3. so we are going to add the padding. The padding of the anchor tag should not be 12 top and bottom. So if we divide that by 2, it will be 7.3 pixel. Then the left and right should be 0 pixel, because it's already at the center. So if we do that, we'll have this here. Nice. So but notice that on click, this also has a background color which is unwanted. So we are going to look for the hover effect, which is this. Now because we are on the mobile view using our developers tool, that's why when we click, the effect is there. So you see, so if you click outside, nothing shows, but if you click them, you see how it shows. Nice. So if we go out of the mobile view, so if you hover, so now you see one of the effects, the height that we added was too long, and for this guy to pick this, you have to be extremely fast. So let's reduce the height a little from the desktop point of view. So that is the top. So let's carry it to 75. Let's see what happens. So at 75, we have this now. So you see, it's looking nice. So the user can easily get that from here. So if you click this, it will take you to the page if it was linked. So this is how we come to the end of the lesson based on applying flex and grid in a Figma design. So this will help you to do your project, which is to do the entire desktop and mobile page. So happy practicing, and I'm sure you get the exact stuff. So see you in our next class.